Greek and Latin borrowings. Ambrosia. 1. The food of the Greek and Roman gods. 2. Something extremely pleasant to taste or smell. After 2 days lost in the woods, the simple stew tasted like ambrosia to them. Ambrosia literally means immortality in Greek, and in Greek and Roman mythology only the immortals, the gods and goddesses, could eat ambrosia or drink nectar. Both may have been divine forms of honey. The gods also used nectar and ambrosia like oils for ceremonial anointing, and a mixture of water, oil, and fruits called ambrosia came to be used in human ceremonies as well. Since we can't know what the mythical ambrosia tasted or smelled like, we mere mortals are free to give the name to our favorite ambrosial dessert, perhaps one involving oranges, coconut, and heavy cream. Dogma. 1. Something treated as established and accepted opinion. 2. A principle or set of principles taught by a religious organization. New findings about how animals communicate are challenging the current dogma in the field. Religious dogma and scientific dogma are sometimes at odds, as in arguments between those who believe in the biblical story of creation and those who believe in evolution. Since all dogma resists change, arguments of any kind are harder to resolve when both sides are dogmatic in their beliefs. Dogma and dogmatic are generally used disapprovingly. It's always other people who believe unquestioningly in dogma and who take a dogmatic approach to important issues. Gratis, without charge, free. The service is gratis since it comes as part of a package deal. Gratis comes from the Latin word for favor, so in English a party favor is a small item given gratis to everyone attending a party. Gratis is used as both an adjective, the drinks were gratis, and an adverb, drinks were served gratis. But however it's used, it means free. Eureka, an exclamation used to express triumph and delight on a discovery. The mountain town of Eureka, California, was named for the cries of delight by prospectors when they discovered gold in them there hills. Eureka means I have found in Greek. The story goes that the Greek inventor Archimedes, given the task of determining the purity of gold in a crown, shouted Eureka one day after stepping into a bath and making water slop over the side, when he suddenly realized that the weight of water displaced indicated the bulk of his body, but that a larger body made of lighter matter might weigh the same but would displace more water. Thus, a crown in which lighter metal had secretly been mixed with the gold would reveal itself in the same way. The story may not be true, but we still shout Eureka when we make a sudden, welcome discovery. Per se, by, of, or in itself, as such. He claims that the reason for the invasion wasn't oil per se, but rather the country's dangerous military power, which had been made possible by its oil. We generally use per se to distinguish between something in its narrow sense and some larger thing that it represents. Thus, you may have no objection to educational testing per se, but rather to the way testing is done. An opposition party may attack a president's policy not because they dislike the policy per se, but because they want to weaken the president. And when New York's police chief decided to crack down on small crimes, it wasn't the small crimes per se that were his target, but instead the larger crimes which he believed would be reduced because of this new approach. Opus, a creative work, especially a musical composition or set of compositions numbered in order of publication. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is also known as Opus, Op. 125. A literary opus is often a single novel, though the word may sometimes refer to all of a writer's works. But opus normally is used for musical works. Mendelssohn's Opus 90 is his Italian symphony, for example, and Brahms's Op. 77 is his violin concerto. Since many composers' works were never given opus numbers in an orderly way, they now often have catalog numbers assigned by later scholars. So Haydn's Symphony No. 104 is Hob.104, Hob. Is short for Anthony van Hoboken, the cataloger, and Mozart's Marriage of Figaro is K.492, K, stands for Ludwig Köchel. Impetus. 1. A driving force or impulse, something that makes a person try or work hard, incentive. 2. Momentum. The promise of a nice bonus gave us all an added impetus for finishing the project on time. An impetus can be something positive and pleasant, or something negative and unpleasant, but in either case it stimulates action. The need to earn a living provides many people with the impetus to drag themselves out of bed 5 mornings a week. On the other 2 days, the impetus might be the smell of bacon cooking, or the idea of an early morning round of golf. Impetus can be used either within or in front of it. The accident provided an impetus for changing the safety regulations, or without them, his discoveries have given impetus to further research. Thesis 1. An opinion or proposition that a person presents and tries to prove by argument. 2. An extended paper that contains the results of original research, especially one written by a candidate for an academic degree. She's done all the coursework needed for her master's degree but hasn't yet completed her thesis. In high school, college, or graduate school, students often have to write a thesis on a topic in their major field of study. In many fields, a final thesis is the biggest challenge involved in getting a master's degree, and the same is true for students studying for a PhD. A PhD thesis is often called a dissertation. But a thesis may also be an idea, so in the course of the paper, the student may put forth several theses, notice the plural form, and attempt to prove them.